Why is it that the single motherhood rate in Black America went from 25% to 75% over 50 years, where America did become less racist? You guys got pregnant and all of a sudden you didn't even know who the father was around. How would your parents react? Not great, right? Yes? Unfortunately, in Black America, this is kind of accepted. Would you agree?
Hello, everybody. Guys, we got Charlie Kirk again on one of these college campuses, and this is a really disturbing conversation. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so the argument that is being made, that you want to make, is that there's legacies of injustice.
Yes.
And that those legacies impact one generation after the other. And when those things get handed down, you have what is a system or a systemic issue that isn't just isolated in 2024. So the argument that you're making is that what happened in 1954 does impact 2024 of decade after decade after decade. Let me tell you my response to that. Of course, there is some truth to that. However, every culture, every person in this audience can point to issues that families or generations prior had that we're able to overcome. So the question is, why is it that Black America is one of the only populations, that and Native American populations, that have not been able to overcome such evil, horrors, and injustices? Here's my perspective, and I want to hear what you have to say, is that the number one way to keep people out of poverty, lower the crime rate, and have a better society is whether or not you have a mom and a dad around. Would we agree that's an ideal? Yeah? Cool.
Yeah.
So what happened in 1964 is that 25% of Black youth were raised by a single mom. Today, it's nearly 75%, about 70%. So that means that 1 in 4 Black kids will have a father around. Only 1 in 4. That's the number one issue happening in the country, and it's not because of systemic racism. I'd like to hear what you have to say about that.
Okay. So I think I misjudged you at first. When you brought.
Guys, before he goes into this is what Charlie Kirk does. He goes to these colleges. He targets people that, obviously, being college students, they're not as versed in the topics, especially these kinds of topics, than he is, right? He purposely talks about things that he's been studying and puts his nasty racist twist on it. So, I'm going to give him the answer for this. In the 1960s, Black Americans, when you compare real wages to the wages today, they had more. We all know the number one reason people divorce of all races is a monetary reason. It's finances. It brings burden of stress, fighting, disagreements. It causes a whole host of problems when you're broke. So people split up. People run away. Right? Some people feel that it's easier being alone, right? Or the stress is just so overwhelming. You just break up. It's just harder, right, to have any kind of relationship. But we'll get more into that in a second. Let's let him talk.
Out of the 1350 stat, I had just assumed that it was inherently eugenics based, kind of, So, and that's where mine came from. I think we are on the same page that we know what the problem is, and that's what I mean.
No,
the
and
education.
thank you for saying that, because I think we actually have a lot more in common in this country than the media would ever believe.
No, definitely, right? And what my point was, I was trying to say is, I don't think that we're doing enough to help these Black communities catch up. Whereas they're underfunded and they're not, and they're over policed, and there's just these factors that are contributing to, like you said, these single parent households.
Yeah, so we're not going to agree on this. This is where we'll disagree, and that's okay. I have more of a view of Thomas Sowell on this, where he believes it's far.
Of course, he picks a Black conservative, Thomas Sowell. I mean, that guy's a sellout. I don't know how anyone could take him serious, but I mean, he used to do Rush Limbaugh's show, just to give you an idea who this guy is.
Far more about culture, values, and worldview than stuff and over policing. I believe there's not enough police in Black neighborhoods. You're going to disagree with that. Let's not even get into it, okay? But I
more police in Black neighborhoods. Just think about how that looks. That Black people just need more policing. They just need more monitoring in a vacuum. How disgusting is that? Without any context, they just need more. This is the same idea about if a pipe bursts and it's spilling all over the water all over the place. You mop it up, but that's not all you do. You fix the damn pipe. By adding cops to a situation, fine, you can clean things up after the fact, but you need to get to the source of the crime by just adding police. It's just a stupid remedy to that situation.
I think we can ask a question, and I want your opinion. Why is it that the single motherhood rate in Black America went from 25% to 75% over 50 years, where America did become less racist?
America became less racist socially, but when it came to finances, real wages for Black Americans are lower, meaning they have relative less wealth than they did in the 60s. And as we spoke about this, white people have 13 times the amount of wealth that the average Black person have. You can see the divorce rates. Spanish people have slightly lower divorce rates than Black Americans because they have a little bit more wealth. This is just an insane argument.
Like, why did it?
Yeah, so what caused Black America to go from one of the strongest nuclear family communities in the country to now the weakest by far?
I can't answer your question.
No, that's okay. No, that's great. And again, it's hard to get up and have these conversations. Here's my opinion. My opinion is that, yes, there was some social welfare that subsidized single motherhood, which means it's easier to get cash from the government if you say you are single than if you are married. I think we can agree that's stupid. That shouldn't happen, right? But I would love your perspective on this. Do you think in Black culture, getting married and staying with one woman for your entire life is elevated and celebrated?
No, not at all.
This is such bullcrap. There's been thousands of shows showing the Black family being united and together. He's trying to make it seem like the white culture, they very, very much so revere being married more than other cultures. It's just not true. And he knows enough about this subject. He's a racist. And instead of being completely direct and say, I just hate and dislike people of color, he plays these disgusting angles and literally convinces Black people like him to believe that he's on their side. And he's just trying to help you guys out. He's disgusting.
I think that's the problem.
I think the problem stems from a lack of education. I think these communities don't have. I don't think a lot of them have the proper education or learning from previous to realize what will lead them to a more successful future. I think that if we funded more education in these systems, then these men wouldn't be so focused on stuff like gang violence to get protection or money or
you have a
other
great
stuff like that, and then end up in prison and then end up with their child having a single mother.
Fair enough. So
sorry, I didn't argue.
No, it's great. So there's a lot of examples that there's some merit to your argument, but it's more.
I'm sorry, this is just insane. It's not education. So, oh my God, it's wealth, guys. We all know it. It's money. Even on a small scale. I remember being super broke growing up in the Bronx. The last thing I was thinking about was having a girlfriend. I couldn't even afford to support myself, let alone take someone on dates. Like, this is just a disgusting argument. He's trying to make an argument that's just something culturally wrong, maybe genetically wrong with Black Americans. So much so that they just need more policing. And this is how we fix the issue? Like, are you effing kidding me? Having 13 times the amount of wealth has nothing to do with it. And there's another thing that's controversial thought, but the women's rights movement helped, obviously, women get jobs. And the first jobs to be, I guess, switched out from a Black American to a white person or to a white woman was Black people jobs, right? Black American jobs. When women's rights finally gave them the opportunity to work, Black jobs were the first ones that were taken. This is still prevalent today, guys. There's been a study showing that DEI, the people that help the subgroups that DEI has helped the most is white women, because white women are included in DEI, right? It's about LGBT, disabled people, Black, brown people, and women. And these companies, instead of getting a Black or a brown person in the company, they've been getting a bunch of white women. Like, he's just avoiding all these things, and he knows it because he studies this stuff. He's been doing this stuff for years. He's just avoiding certain facts.
More about the quality of education than the amount of money we spend on it.
Yeah.
Such as, that's why I'm a big proponent of school choice and educational vouchers and opposing the teacher unions. But the core is this, is that the number one predictor for a kid of any skin color, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, is whether or not dad is around.
Right.
And I look as an outsider, albeit, at current black culture, right? From the athletes to the rap music to the music, I don't see the nuclear family elevated, nor is it an internal black cultural expectation. Now, I will ask some of the white individuals here in this audience, okay? If you guys got pregnant and all of a sudden you didn't even know who the father was around, how would your parents react? Not great, right? Yes? Unfortunately, in black America, this is kind of accepted. Would you agree?
Are you effing kidding me? You're such a piece of shit. Look at the face he makes when he says it's accepted. Are you effing kidding me? I've never heard that before. It's just accepted in the black community to have kids without both parents. This dude, and the whole thing about the music and all that, again, he's trying to say it's a culture, it's a genetic issue, without understanding that things like rap and hip hop is just a portrayal. It's literally like an artist painting a picture of a city. It's just a portrayal of what they were going through, or friends that they've known that were going through the life in the ghetto, honestly, in the hood. This is just insane to me. And the portrayal of what they were portraying was poverty. What hip hop is talking about mainly is poverty. When you talk about gangs and all this stuff comes from poverty. You don't see gangs in rich neighborhoods because it's not, I don't want to say it's not needed, but there's just not enough economic opportunities. So people start committing crimes in order to create those economic opportunities. Like he would have you think we're different species of humans and aliens or something.
I can't say. I grew up around a lot of white people, so I can't
All right,
say.
okay.
Like,
well, so, but it is a fact that it is
sure.
accepted, right? So that's the problem. The
It's not a fucking fact, you piece of crap.
problem is that it's a cultural norm that has then turned into the cycle of poverty. The cycle of poverty can break very quickly if fathers stayed with the women they impregnate.
But most of these fathers aren't just leaving. A large majority of these fathers are ending up in prison. Like this is
good point. Why do you go to prison?
because you commit crimes. But
okay,
because
yeah.
Okay. Well, what crimes are you committing? Does it have to do with finances? Does it have to do with money? Because I'm sorry, I don't know too many people who have wealth and are selling drugs or entering gangs and all that stuff. You do this stuff because it creates economic opportunities, right? You sell drugs because you don't have a job. Or, right, some would say it's the easy way out, but a lot of these people just don't see a future for whatever, situations that happen in their life. They don't see a future in a regular job. So they end up committing crimes. Like, this guy's a piece of garbage. And that's another thing. Black Americans are incarcerated 4 times the amount than white Americans. So they are targeted more, putting more of those men in jail, creating these single families. Again, just watching a room full of water and just mopping up the floor and ignoring how that happened is just insane to me. And this works. Look at all these MAGA hats. These works on these morons.
the prison system has been targeted against minorities.
Again, we're not going to agree here,
Right,
and that's
we're not.
okay.
Yeah.
There's actually under enforcement of the laws when it comes where there's, for example, only half of murders in Chicago get solved.
Right, but are
that
they
mean-
all black people though?
Almost all of them, yeah, like 80.
Well,
80
if they're not solved, how do we know that?
Why are you smiling about that, you piece of trash? Like, again, these guys love bringing it up Chicago, but don't bring up Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, these places where the crime rate is higher.
They're black people.
Well, because it's a black victim in a black neighborhood by a black gang. So it's like you can assume at a great approximation that in the west side of Chicago,
50% of the murders in Chicago that go unsolved are all black people.
not all.
dead in
No,
black.
I said 85%. But we don't know who the perp is. But again, if you have a black victim at 2 a.m. in a black neighborhood, it's reasonable to say that it was a black on black crime. 90% of murders after 2 a.m. in Chicago are black on black crimes. I'm from Chicago.
Right.
I happen to know it.
So-
right. But like half of all murders in Chicago are unsolved, which that means half of all murderers are walking free. So we have an under enforcement of laws. We have the ladies here in this audience should know this. You know that there's over 600,000 rape kits in this country that have not even been opened or tested, which means that there are women who say that they've been raped and their kits are not even put in the system. There are probably hundreds of thousands of rapists that walk free in this country.
Yeah, no, our system is
No, what I'm
totally
saying,
terrible.
though, that's an under enforcement of laws, though.
Yeah, because our system is terrible.
No, I know, but you said we have an over enforcement. I don't think we have enough people in jail.
You don't think we have enough people?
No, like I said, half of all murderers walk free. We don't even know who they are.
We don't have enough black people in jail is what he's saying. That even more black people should be put in jail. Again, without trying to remedy the issue as to why the pipe burst.
Okay, but I sure, whatever. But I'm talking. I don't think that I don't think that black people are as more than 50% of exonerations from prison are black people. Like, a black person is more likely than any other race to be tried for a crime that they did not commit, and then to be released from prison for a crime that they did not commit.
That's not totally true. Let's pretend that it is. It's because they're in front of the justice system more because of the high crime. But let's try to find some agreement.
I'm talking percentages of exonerations. Like,
No, it's because they're in the system more, though. It's because you have more cases. But anyway, let's pretend that's true.
Right.
No, he's saying percentages. He is pointing to the fact that they get convicted of crimes or they're being targeted with no evidence. And then they get exonerated, meaning they didn't commit the crime that they were suspected of doing. And why is that? Because society has made it, through years and years of doing this, made it seem like black people are more dangerous, just inherently more dangerous. And so police go out there, do their job, see black people, see white people, and they target the black people more. That's it.
Let's pretend the system's totally racist.
Actually, there's more white people in the system because white people make up
No, for sure.
So you were just incorrect there, right? Like you're doing to me.
But they don't commit as many crimes.
Okay, so let's be cordial. Let's be cordial.
You're not being, so let's calm down a little bit, okay?
You're not being.
Am I being sweet to this guy?
But
all right, this is pretty much the end of the interview, but I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let me know what you think. This conversation to me is really disturbing. He targets colleges purposefully because he knows these people are not as educated on the topics as he is. This is his full-time job. He's 30-something years old, and he's going to a bunch of 18, 19-year-olds. And these arguments that he's making is ingrained in just disgusting, just deep-rooted racism. He's making an argument that there's something either genetically or just culturally wrong with black people. Well, the culture is showing you this and this. So that means genetically something wrong with black people that makes them do this, makes them portray culture like this without understanding how any of these things happen. How do you not understand that hip hop and rap is just a portrayal of living in the hood? And the hood has been created by the financial conditions bestowed on black and brown people in this country. Like, this person who just wants you to think just everything in a vacuum. Just, oh, look at black people commit more crimes. Oh, look at white people are rich and are together. Aren't they clearly are better, right? Genetically? Disgusting. I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thank you for watching if you got all the way to the end. And I'll catch you in the next one.